Welcome back to another episode of the Fit Show, powered by bodybuilding.com. This is Milos Šarčev, pro bodybuilder. I'm here in Colosseum Gym Fullerton, Mecca of bodybuilding here in Orange County. Today's segment is training shoulders or deltoids. As an important muscle group for all competitive bodybuilders and men in general, I'm going to show you what I learned in 20 years of my training experience, how to develop front, side, and rear posture of a deltoid. Very important aspect for building complete package, what we need today on the stage for competitive IBB pros or NPC competitors. So let's go and do it. Before we start with the shoulder training routine, I would like to answer some questions that I receive constantly on my website and on the fitshow.com. How many sets, how many reps, how many different exercises per body part? That's the question. It's really depending on your specific goals. But to summarize, I'm going to say, if you're a strength athlete and you want to power, you should train in a 1 to 5 repetition per set protocol. If you're a bodybuilder and your primary concern is to build muscle size, you should train between 6 and 12 repetitions per set. That stimulates fast twitch muscle fiber responsible for growth. And finally, if you do want to just be in shape and muscle tone, definition, endurance is your primary concern, you should do high repetition per each set, over 15, and I even do over 100 repetitions per set. So don't limit yourself at that. I just like to quote my childhood hero, Bruce Lee, who was observing everyone and everything, accepting what was useful, discarding what was useless, and creating what was essentially his own. What we want to do here at the Fit Show is to get you some options that you can apply to design a perfect training routine for you, for your specific goals. So let's go do shoulders. It's a big body part. We have a lot to do. It's a front, side, and rear deltoid we need to explain. So let's go and build that Olympia-sized deltoids. Okay, I want to introduce you again to my training partner, Marcelo Carvel, in training for Nationals 2005. He's going to be here demonstrating some of the exercises for today's shoulder training routine. First and foremost, I would like to start with the overhead presses, bread and butter of any shoulder training routine. And it's going to be variations of military press, standing, seated, in front, behind the neck, dumbbells. So let's go to work. Marcelo is going to show you first standard military press, standing, which is going to be a power move that he's going to do it in standing position, in front, just like he's doing right now, which stimulates front deltoid, one of the 3 heads of a deltoid muscle. Let's now try it behind the neck. This is variation. When he's standing position, he is doing behind, which for granted is not physiologically safe. It's a little bit hard on the shoulder joint, but a lot of guys can do it safely, just like he's doing it controlled, slow and controlled. Okay, let me get this. Now the same thing we can do in a seated position. And you can start from behind the neck first. Military press behind the neck in a seated position, and a few more in front. As you can see, he is doing it very slow, controlling all the way down, full range of motion, and contracting his front deltoid on the top. This is barbell military press. Now he's going to do dumbbells in seated position first, and he's going to show you a couple of different moves as well. I like to do this, go ahead, straight. He can do it in a slower fashion, which is my favorite. As you know so far, go much slower, and slow and control down. Slowly up, do several reps. In the previous 2 segments of Fit Show, I introduced you to this super slow method, and some people do believe that this is really going to put you to sleep and is not worth This is very hard to do and isolates the muscle completely. Go ahead. And when it gets heavy, you just drop it and do the standing set with a lower weight. One of the most intense training method is the standing sets. So you do 6, 8, 10 repetitions with initial weight, and then you go with the, drop the weight and do with the lighter. Okay, go ahead. Again, go super slow. Now, here's just like what I was doing for legs. I would like to challenge a few people to do this exercise in exact manner that he is doing it right now. Super slow. And not just slow on the way down, which is common, but slow on the way up. The same principle of contracting the muscle rather than pushing. Okay, go ahead. And now do the standing a few more.
Standing?
Standing. Okay. And 155 more. Okay, you can drop down. So as you can see, even the small little weight of 20 pounds exhausted Marcelo that he was not able to complete 3-4 repetitions with this small weight. And I trained with Marcelo, and I can tell you he's actually stronger than me in most of the shoulder moves. So to summarize, overhead press does this front deltoid. Turn around. So lift your head, arm. Okay, here it is, front deltoid. This is the portion that is highly visible from the front, from the side, and from the back. And any overhead press is going to be stimulating mostly this portion of the delt. So, thank you. For front deltoid, any overhead press, absolutely anything that you push the weight above your head would stimulate the front delt. There was a few people that contacted fitshow.com stating that any particular exercise is not better for portion of the muscle, stating that if you do the exercise, it's going to equally stimulate each muscle fiber of that particular muscle. That's really not so. If that's the case, we would have one exercise per body part, and we would not need to do any variations of. So for a front deltoid, even variations that I just showed you here, with the dumbbells, with the barbell, behind the neck in front, would do a little tricks, and it would stimulate different fibers. So please, next time you train delts, try maybe one of each, and collect the experience and see what works for you the best. So front delt, any overhead press, absolutely. Let's move on to another exercises for deltoids. Next exercise for front deltoid is going to be front shoulder raises, and I'm going to do variations of those as well. It's a front dumbbell, cable, or barbell raise. And Marcelo is going to demonstrate again. He has a very developed front deltoid, and this is the portion that we're talking about, which is going to be used in a front raise barbell and dumbbell move. As you can see, this is the muscle that contracts. So let's demonstrate this with the barbell first. And again, it's not the Bible, it's a barbell. He's doing it perfectly. Slow control down and straight up. This is isolating move. It's quite hard to do. And not too many people do this, contrary to overhead presses that everybody does. But I would suggest you to try those. It's isolating move for a front deltoid and a very good shaping exercise. Slow down, controlled, and up, crossing the eye level. Okay, perfect. Now drop it down, and let's do it with the dumbbells. Same exercise can be done with the dumbbells, and it's done like this. Go straight up. Okay. And I like to do a little bit wider version to the side of the body, and then all the way in. As deltoid work not just by raising the arm, it's also bringing the inwards right here. Okay. Now, a few more, and do it in a seated position. Every time we do something seated, excludes the momentum that we can use, using a standing position. Go ahead. So, now I would like to warn you, this is very hard exercise to do, so don't try to use a super heavy weight because you're not going to be able to do it in a perfect form. Okay, down and slow down. In seated position, he doesn't have a choice. He has to use really his front delt. Okay, one more. That's good. you're down. And let's move on to the cable. After standing, seated position, barbell and dumbbell, we can do the same exercise using the cable. Go ahead. And it's good finishing move. I usually like to do this close to the contest. And as you can see again, it stimulates the exact part front deltoid that we want to reach. All the way, control down. As I said before, cables have a different aspect. It's not just the gravity that you're fighting the gravity. You have to go as far on a low pulley how much this weight is pulling you back. So you can stretch more and range of motion is much greater on cable exercises. Okay, that's it. So come here. While everybody does overhead presses, and it's really bread and butter of a shoulder training routine, I know that a little trick that everybody always starts shoulder routine with the front deltoids. I would say that's a little mistake, because if you have undeveloped part of the delt, which in most cases would be a rear delt, I would suggest them to prioritize that and do rear delt first in the training routine, and then put side and front delt somewhere else. It's not a rule that we have to go by that front delts at first and then side and then rear. As we can see here, this is rear portion of the delt, side and front. And I would actually work with Marcelo, which you guys are going to see by the 2005 Nationals. We are focusing more on the side and rear delt that we need to develop to catch his overpowering front delt. So next exercise we're going to do is side delt, but I hope you get everything for front delt that we need to explain. So let's go and do it.